Hey guys, how's everyone's day, everyone's week been so far? Hopefully it's been better than mine. I tortured myself recently. I actually tortured myself so you wouldn't have to. Now that's not a sentence I ever thought I would say. Tortured yourself how, you may be wondering. And the answer to that is an easy one. I decided to go on My Anime List, the definitive most trustworthy site of all time for anime and manga ratings, seeing as Full Metal Alchemist has and always will be at the top of anime ratings. What do you mean others topped it before and they spammed ones to lower the scores? That would never happen. And I decided to go to the manga section and go through every single page until I reached the lowest scored manga on the website and read it. As I realized that all my manga reviews so far have been manga that I actually enjoyed because I didn't go out of my way to read bad manga. But this one, I need a bad manga, so I can put a laughable instead of a readable as my final answer for the readable or laughable kind of series that I got going. After about an hour of clicking next page on the website, I reached it. A manga with a score of 2.48, which just happens to be High School Musical, the manga. First off, I didn't know High School Musical had a manga. Second off, I didn't know people didn't like it that much. But that's not even the manga I'm going to be covering today, as it's literally so short, so uneventful, that I don't even think I could talk about it for longer than a minute. To sum it up, I play basketball. I don't want to play basketball. We won the basketball tournament. Yeah, baby. We're finna graduate. Let's party. And it's literally one chapter. Like 5 pages in total. It was so abhorrent that I wanted to go back in time to 5 minutes before, just so my eyes wouldn't have had to have seen it. But I'm committed to the content, so I had to read it. So instead of the High School Musical manga, I decided to change what I was looking for, and instead of the lowest manga in general, I wanted to look for the lowest scored manga with at least 20 chapters. Heck, even more than 1 chapter would suffice at this point. And I found it. Surprisingly, it only took me to the 3rd lowest rated manga. I thought I'd have to go through at least like 10 or 20 because I thought they'd all be one-shots. If you're wondering what the 2nd lowest rated manga was, it was a random one-shot called Zanin Nagara Chigamasu, and it's just a weirdly fast-paced romance manga. And the entire one-shot, it went from meeting each other on the escalator to having smecks and getting married on the same day, presumably within hours. It was a really weird read, but it was at least better than the High School Musical manga, so that's good. So far, the ratings have been consistent. High School Musical down here, Zanin Nagara Chigamasu right here. But yeah, that's also not what we're here for, so I'm gonna move on to today's main topic. But real quick, subscribe. Also, comment the worst manga you've ever read in your life. I need to find some competition for future reference so I could make more manga videos on bad manga or good manga if they turn out to be good. Now back to the video. The 3rd lowest rated manga on my anime list is titled Gal Star Cleaning, with an average rating of 4.36 from almost 4,000 users. It has 25 chapters, so when I saw this I was like, poggers, a manga long enough to be bad, but not only because it's a chapter and because it's actually bad. I immediately got to reading. The manga was simple enough. It follows a guy named Taku who pretty much just hates women. I'm kidding, he doesn't hate women, he just doesn't understand them. And one day he is forced to go over to his Garyu classmate's house, Chiriko Aiga, to bring her something she needed from the school. And when he arrived to her house, he learned 2 things. One, that at the time she wasn't feeling too well as she was knocked out on the ground exposing her panties, as the manga has a lot of fan service. And 2, that her entire house was the definition of, damn bitch, you live like this? Since our main character is a bit of a clean freak, he cleaned her entire room, and yeah, it was nice. I just realized that my last 2 manga reviews have centered around the main character being a clean freak, but whatever. The premise finishes off with the fact that Taku's dad practically gets evicted, and like the caring father he is, goes overseas and tells his son to live with a friend of his. Little do we know his dad's friend is Aiga's dad, so he gets to live with her, who lives alone because her parents are gone as well. Which means it's literally the 2 of them alone in this house together all the time. And the manga is just fan service, some actual good cleaning facts, which I don't know if they're true or not, I'm just gonna assume they are, and some cute moments between our 2 main characters. Overall, it seemed pretty normal, and for 8 chapters, it seemed like things were going generally well. As I was reading those 8 chapters, I thought, this isn't that bad. How could this be the lowest rated manga on Mouse, save for the other 2 that I mentioned? I was even enjoying it for the most part. Then, chapter 8.5 through 899 happened, which was 14 chapters that I can only explain by saying, okay then. The first few chapters of the new Endless 8 weren't too bad, they just cranked the fan service up to 1,000. The little arc that was from chapters 8.5 to chapters 8.93, it was about 8 chapters, consisted of Aiga not having any washed pantsu, and she ended up going to school without wearing any. She thought she was wearing Taku's boxers though, as shown earlier on in the arc. It's just that they were too big for her, so they fell down to the ground before she even left the house. So under her skirt, she was naked. And yeah, it's just 8 chapters of Taku Taku trying to get her to notice while not letting anyone else notice. And then there was a scene where Taku was unexpectedly pulled into a locker with and by Aiga to hide from something. I don't even think she ever explains to him what they were hiding from though. Big plot hole, come on now. That small plot hole alone brought my score down from a 10. Before that, it was perfect. But jokes aside, the main reason I bring up this scene is that the entire scene of them in the locker, they're squished together and she's just moaning the entire time and eventually climaxing from Taku's knee rubbing against her you-know-what. And since she has no pantsu, I guess it's closer and more sensitive. You know, I don't really want to get into that, but you know what I mean. I just wasn't expecting it. And while I wasn't really expecting it, as most of the fan service so far had just been panty shots and teasing, I can't say it was uncalled for. I mean, Code Geass had a similar scene with Nana in the table instead of another person, but it still wasn't hentai or anything, you know? Plus, unlike Code Geass, this manga actually centers around sexual, I don't know, humor? So it's not like, oh my god, this manga's done the unthinkable, the impossible, I need to drop this now. So I just kept on reading. We only had like 6 chapters left until the 8 point whatevers ended and got to chapters 9 and 10 to finish off the manga, and I was ready to see what was in store. After the Pantsu arc, we were quickly introduced to the student council prez. Her name is Tokimura, and then the rest of the manga besides the final chapter gives us her backstory, which is just 4 chapters of her getting, the word rhymes with great, by a couple of other students. And this wasn't just some small sexual assault scene, this was in full 4K detail, showing a lot of effed up shit. Not saying sexual assault of any capacity is okay, I'm just saying this is a lot more than you would normally see in a manga that isn't either inherently dark or just a hentai. Long story short though, our main man Taku saves her, and this is why it's revealed that the student council president likes him. From there, the manga speed runs its ending. Tokimura asks Taku out, he says nah fam, I'm into Garyus like Aiga, and then he doesn't even really confess to Aiga, they just kinda hug and Aiga says, so you're just always gonna be cleaning up after me, haha, and it kinda leaves it on an open-ended ending. And yeah, that was all of Galstar Cleaning. A pretty weird experience. I read it in like a half hour that started with me not expecting much, to me being optimistic, to me feeling like I just watched the end of Evangelion due to how confused I was with the ending. So I'm not sure what happened. Did the mangaka find out his or her series was getting axed and then had a mental breakdown to finish off the story? Or was this the intended final arc all along? I honestly hope that's not the case. Maybe they were just tired of writing this manga and said, screw it, I'm gonna prank the audience, do a little bit of tomfoolery. And the thing is, I don't even mind the ending like that, like the story in general. I just think it could have been longer and a lot better executed. So was it a waste of time? Maybe. But was it the worst manga I ever read? I'm not sure about that. I could probably go to my have read list and find worse. And now it's time for the question you've all been waiting for. Is Galstar Cleaning readable or laughable? I must say laughable, but enjoyable. It's enjoyable trash until around the 8 chapter mark where it just goes to trash, if I'm being honest. It's sad because it had a lot of potential to just be a fun, ecchi rom-com that ran forever until they finally get together or something, but the author just said nah. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys about the time I read the lowest rated manga on Mao, which was actually yesterday. I also want to make a video about the worst anime on Mao. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. But hey guys, if you enjoy the premise of Galstar Cleaning, why not check it out and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you like the video, as always, like and subscribe. Have a great day, and adios. Ayy.